Hi, welcome to the LGBTQ review with me, James, and this is Beth. We look at LGBTQIA plus content, and this time we are looking at Fall Back Down.
Fall Back Down is the 2020 Canadian activist romcom film written and directed by Sarah Beth Edwards. This is Edwards' feature directorial debut. It premiered at the 2020 Whistler Film Festival, where Andrew Dunbar was named Star to Watch, and it has gone on to screen at many different film festivals across the world, including the Cardiff International Film Festival. Set against the backdrop of a fictionalised Vancouver underground, it follows Nick, an ex-activist whose girlfriend leaves to do humanitarian work in Nigeria. He gets a job in a factory and makes a grim discovery. And then he and his colleague Rena set about finding out what happened. It's available to stream now in the UK, and you can go to the website to get more information on that. I really like this film. It was great to see a big inclusive queer family on screen. I don't think we reviewed anything that has that before, have we? No. That's what I want to see on screen. That's great. It was great to see a cast of people that look like people that you would see if you went outside into the world.
I don't know what a good term for it would be. Like, you can't have like naturalistic casting, because that's quite a weird thing to say. It's just a cast that we don't usually get to see on screen. So it's just like representation, but not of like sexuality or race, but just of like diversity of bodies, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more commonly seen on television now. Still not like across the board, but yeah, in film it's definitely a rarity. So Rena is played by Adelia Dasani. Lizzie is played by Jackie Leigh. Nick is played by Andrew Dunbar. He's very engaging.
He has a certain allure about him as a screen presence.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good casting choice, considering how much that character's in it. I think even with being a passive character, the fact that he is on screen so much and it doesn't negatively impact the film being passive is like, you know, a real strength.
Nick, as a protagonist, is probably the most passive protagonist I've ever seen in anything. He's too passive to be a main character, and it goes against everything that I know and have seen and have been taught about writing. But it's an interesting thing to see play out in a feature.
That's fine until they discover something, and then I don't think you can be that passive. Not going to the police and like continuing day-to-day life.
Well, it's because they haven't got any evidence, isn't it? I think it's fine. I think they set up the corporate overlords at the beginning, so I think it makes sense why they don't go to the police.
There are a lot of like bumps in the story that the actors are able to smooth over. I don't feel like it's ever broken. I feel like, oh, that's kind of odd or something. But they do such good jobs with it that they don't like take me out of the film, which is a testament to their skill as performers and putting together a complete character. They could have spent more time at the factory and maybe have those members be the supporting cast, or have a lot more time with the kind of punk family who we don't get to see much of. I think there's two worlds there that are both rich that we don't get to see enough of. I would just have liked to have spent more time there.
I can't say what the ending is, obviously, but if we're talking about ending types, which we do a lot, this is my new favourite ending type. Like, this has surpassed the Graduate end.
What?
Every time. I would rather see this than two people on a bus.
I enjoy an impromptu dance. There have been a few now in the films we watched.
Yeah.
Recently.
But top notch. The sound is really good, and the soundtrack was very good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it did have a really good soundtrack. There was never any like scored soundtrack. It was all music, like that you put to, like a montage or something like that. So that's kind of interesting. Like they're like very long scenes of like dialogue and in between like transitional scenes and things that didn't have any music. It was someone else who had directed this. It would feel like they had written like the good guy trope. It just seems very like, I don't know, it seemed odd if you looked at it in a certain way.
Because of the way they set up the inclusive family at the beginning, I think it's okay. Like, I think he's okay. Like, that ending fits with that. It's nice to see like supportive good people as parents, as opposed to like that's where the conflict comes from, because they're so just supportive of their life, which is great.
Yeah, it was really good to see that family have no conflict.
Such a solid family unit that are like supporting each other all the time, which is the best thing to see. I would highly recommend seeing this film. I think it's really interesting. It's just so different from everything else in terms of not even narrative, but like plot points, that I think it's a really interesting thing to watch, because it doesn't not work, but we're told that this structure of things shouldn't work. That in itself is a good enough reason to see it, but also it's like a great film, and it's so good to see this like big inclusive queer family on screen.
There are not many like lo-fi punk mystery romances kicking about. I will rate this 3.4 Moomin cuddly toys.
I will rate it 3.4 for sale signs covered in pee.
That's what we thought. Let us know what you thought below, and you can like and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at LGBTQ_review.